Hello everyone, greetings from PayTabs technical support team. In this series, you will learn how to integrate with PayTabs through our PT2 API endpoints. Throughout the series, we will walk you through the second integration type, which is the invoices. And for the purpose of this series, we have created a very simple Laravel project to walk you through the integration process. But feel free to follow the steps in this series with your own project, whatever the programming language or the frameworks used to integrate with PayTabs. So, let's get started. In this video, we are going to learn more about one of our follow-up transactions, which is the get invoice status. So, let's get started. The first thing you should know is that you can find the full documentation for this part inside PayTabs support portal under the article called the Invoices API's Integration Manual. Now, from the integration manual over here, you can see that step 7 is dedicated to manage your transactions. And what we mean by managing your transaction, it means if you want to do any follow-up transaction upon any already existed transactions, like refunding the amount of this transaction, and maybe in our case today, which is query the invoice status or get the invoice status, this is the step that you will need, or the step that will be clarified and all what you need. So for this part, we are going to learn how to get the invoice status or query the invoice status. Querying the invoice status is important to know if your invoice is paid or not, cancelled, maybe still pending. So this is the idea of query your invoice status. It's a very simple request. Actually, PayTabs offers you two APIs to do that, a post API and a get API. You can use our post API like that, which will one we are going to test out in this video. Simply all what you need to have is to send the profile ID, the invoice ID in the body, and in return you will receive the status of the invoice. If the invoice is paid, you will receive along it the transaction reference and the transaction status for it, and if it's not paid, you will receive the pending status like that. Now there is also the get request or the get invoice status, and you can check it out in our Postman collection over here. It looks like this. It's a very simple GET request. You only pass the invoice ID to it and you'll receive, of course, the invoice status. But for our tutorial or for this series, we have created a very simple payload. It contains the profile ID, the invoice ID. We have created, of course, you can see that we have added out the status endpoint over here. It looks like this. That's it. And for now, I'm going to get back to my front end to just see you or display to you what we have done. This is a simple layout just to show you the idea of getting the invoice status or query the invoice status. So all what you need to do now is to provide any invoice ID. I'll be sent it to my code over here. I'll be added inside my payload this one invoice ID along with my profile ID, and I will just in my control I will be debug and debug the response to see how it looks. So for now I can just access my merchant dashboard and get any paid invoice, for example one like this. So now I'm going to get back to this view over here. I'm going to paste it out, get the status, and as you can see in the response I have get the status, it's paid, transaction reference, the transaction status. Now let's try another thing, which is initiating an invoice without paying it. I'm going to initiate a simple invoice. I'm going to proceed to payment. As you can see over here, I will not pay the invoice, I will leave it pending. I will take just the number or the ID, sorry, of the invoice. I'll paste it over here. I'll get the status, and as you can see I will receive that the status is still pending. This is what we're here to learn. This is a very simple API that you can use inside your business, and now we can move to the next video.